Okay, so now I am at adcomparator.com, and there's a link to that below. It's not my site, by the way. It's a free site maintained by Blair Gorman on the internet, just out of the goodness of his heart. He actually has no way to monetize this. I never really understood that, but I guess he doesn't want the money. He just does it for the love of it. And you don't have to worry too much about all this introductory text. What you want to do is just scroll down, and you're going to pick the number of elements that you're planning to test, and you'll pick continue. And I've done this a little bit like a cooking show so that I can save you the time. You don't have to watch me type. If you recall, we're testing 7 elements. We went through this in the last part of the video. So each one of these is an element. So I'm going to choose 7 elements. And it'll say continue. And the next section is going to ask you to define a name for those 7 elements. And those names will correspond exactly to the light blue words that I put in here. That's what we're naming our 7 elements. And because this is a cooking show, I've already done that for you. And you'll see that, headline first 2 words corresponds to headline's first 2 words. And then when you click continue there, let's go and do you fill out all 7 elements. Just fill them out to match the way you named your elements before. And you can name them whatever you want to as long as you recognize what they are. And then let's go to step 3. When you press continue, you go to step 3. Here's my cooking show already filled out for you. And you can see I have chosen the options for each of these elements that we had used before. And the options are do you versus really, love versus like, dogs versus puppies. Those are the options. And then when you click continue, what the software is going to do is comprise the profiles. It calls them profiles. Really, they're just ads. At the end of this video, I'll talk about why it calls them profiles and how that can give you some more advanced power to actually test your website. But for now, just think of these as advertising, as actual AdWords ads. And each one of these profiles should give you enough instructions to write an ad. And I've actually already done that. I've written an ad for all 8 of the profiles. And the words that it puts in red are your test words. That means that they're different from the control. So if we go back to our example, here's the control over here. The control says do you. So do you would appear in black. And if it changes to really, it would appear in red, just to indicate that it's different. And so let's go back here and confirm that. In all the profiles where it says do you, it's in black. Yep, and then when it goes to really, it's in red. And what you do is you take all of these options that it's comprised for you exactly in the combination they've provided, and you create 8 different ads. Before I show you the 8 ads that I created from these profiles, I just want to reinforce for you that at the end of the last section, we talked about how if we wanted to test all of these elements with all these different options and test every possible combination, we would have to test 128 ads. And that would take us forever. And it would cost a fortune. And what the power of Taguchi is saying, no, you really don't have to test all those ads. If you're willing to sacrifice some precision, I can get you about 80% of the results that you would have gotten if you just test 8 ads. And these are 8 very special ads, which I put together with some very special math, which you don't have to know about. Okay, so very, very powerful technique. It's going to really allow you to test 10 times faster in this, 12 times faster. 8 times 12 would be, well, whatever. It's even more than that. I can't do math when I'm live, but whatever 128 divided by 8 is, that's the savings that we're getting. And so rather than make you watch me type, what I did is I typed out all the ads beforehand. Let's just look at this number 2 as an example, because number 1 is just our control. And here's the control ad number 1. Help abandoned dogs find a loving home today. Do you love dogs? www.homesfordogs.com. But let's go and do number 2. Here it's saying copy the control, but change in body text line 1 the word abandoned to lonely. So let's just make sure I did that in number 2. I did. Instead of abandoned, I made it lonely. I did that. Poor lonely dogs. And in body text line 1, the third word, change dogs to puppies. I did that. So you get the idea. You just go through and follow the instructions, and you create those 8 ads in your AdWords account. I did it on one sheet so you could see them all more easily. The columns don't mean anything. I just did it so you could see all 8 ads in one place. And you create these 8 ads, and they've got various combinations, very special combinations, which is going to allow the software to approximate, based upon whatever click-through and conversion results you get, it's going to allow it to approximate what the results would have been if you actually did test 128 different versions. Very, very powerful. So let's pretend like we let this run. Maybe these 8 ads would have had to run for a week, depending upon how much traffic we have. There's a lot of traffic in the dog market, so I think probably a week would have done it. And if I wanted to optimize for click-through, that's the simplest thing that people think of to optimize for. If I was shooting to create an ad that had the highest click-through, then I would have waited until the worst performing ad of all these 8 ads, until the worst of these ads had 30 actions minimum. It's the simplest rule of thumb for doing it. When the worst one had 30 actions minimum, then I would have said, okay, it's done. And I would have come back to Adcomparator. And unfortunately at Adcomparator, you have to go through and enter all the stuff again. So you want to save a little file where you kept the options and make sure you remember them, because they don't have an option to remember what you did. But hey, what do you want? It's free, right? So you click continue, and then you're going to put in the response. Now, one word of caution here, whatever you put in as the response is what you're optimizing for. So if you want to choose an ad that gets the best click-through, then you put in the % click-through here for each one of the ads. I mean, it's kind of common sense. If you want to choose the ad that has the best conversion, you put in the conversion for each one of the ads. If you wanted to choose the ad that had the best profit per impression, then you put in the profit per impression for each one of the ads. So whatever you put in here, your entire set of results is going to give you the winner that's going to produce that same metric. So right now, let's assume we did click-through, and it puts in random numbers just so you can see what it would do. But what you would actually need to do is go to your Google account, and you need to see what the actual % response is on each of these, and you'd enter that. Let's just use their random numbers for right now, and click on Perform Ad Analysis. And then you're done.